I think that it's really rude that on the day that we're filming an episode about acne, I have a huge pimple on my mouth.
Oh, that's sad.
I very rarely get pimples, but I seem to always get them right before we record.
That's honestly super rude.
Can you see it?
Now that you pointed out, I can see the bump, but it's just like texturally I can tell, but it's not. It's the same color as the rest of your skin.
Okay, well, hopefully our viewers can see it.
I didn't notice. I'm sure the viewers can't see it.
Guys, don't tell me about the bump I have on my face today, okay? I can't handle it.
Sadie doesn't want to hear about her acne. She wants you to hear about acne.
Yeah, I'm teaching you, not the other way around.
Get it straight. Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Beauty by the Beaker. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Sadie.
And we are Beauty X Beaker again.
Here we are again.
Here we are.
Here we are to give science a hot new makeover.
It's November now.
It's a little chilly outside.
It is a little chilly outside. I have my faux sweater on.
Yeah, it's not that chilly in the studio because we have massive lights upon us.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a crisp in the air.
There is.
And it's Christmas now.
It is Christmas now.
Are you like a after Thanksgiving person or after Halloween?
Here's the thing, actually. I think that I was a pretty strict after Thanksgiving person up until COVID.
Yep.
And then once COVID hit, I was like, do what makes you happy. Life is short. We may never see each other again. Like, put up your Christmas tree in July if you want to. I don't care.
Yeah. Sulavu.
Literally.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents were super strict about it being like the day after Thanksgiving my whole life. And so I think because of that, in my own home, I set up on November 1st.
Just because
I didn't get that growing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, well, I'm an adult now. So
that makes sense.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. Flip likes to wait until after. I've kind of had it be a tradition that I set up on Black Friday.
Yeah, that's what we did growing up.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's way too short.
I do agree, especially when like Thanksgiving is at the end of the month.
Like, I don't know. I'm not
Extra.
decorating for Thanksgiving. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, I'm not going to put it.
You don't have pilgrim decor?
Not yet. Because I just decorate for Christmas. So it's never been part of what I have.
I have a few Thanksgiving specific items.
A give thanks sign
No.
that goes in your living room.
No. My mom has a giant wooden turkey that says give thanks on one side, and on the other side I think it says eat beef.
Okay.
Mom, weigh in. I know you're watching.
Yeah. Oh, I get it now.
Because it's a turkey.
Oh, that literally was just like, you know what? Okay, that was on me. I did not get the joke.
If you can hear my dog freaking out in the background, it's because he's getting ready for a walk.
Little walkies for little Owen.
And we are getting ready to talk about what?
Well, we're going to talk about something that I have made such an intrinsic part of my personality. It's kind of crazy. But if you know me, you know that I have dealt with acne my entire life.
Yes.
I had really severe cystic acne for most of my teenage years and my early 20s. Nat actually can attest to just how extensive my acne journey was.
Yeah, I did see it in, I would say, not the worst, but like the breaking point.
Yes.
Is when I saw it.
It was severe.
I saw it at the point at which you were like, okay, I'm doing something more
Yes.
about this.
Yeah, like I'd done topicals for my whole life. And then it did get to the point where I just did Accutane because I was so sick and tired of dealing with it.
We talked about masks a little bit. We didn't talk about masks. We talked about COVID. We talked about COVID very slightly. Did masks have an effect on your acne?
I think that they aggravated it. Yeah.
It seems like if things are moving around, like a lot of the issue is the bacteria moving.
Yeah.
Feels like
and just like
it's transferring
it. Yeah. And then also if I had a moisturizer on, sometimes it would kind of like hold, like trap in heat a little bit. And then it just got aggravated by everything. So I did Accutane. I did that. Nat saw me every single day while I was on Accutane. We'll insert some photos of like how severe my acne got.
Yeah.
Because it was bad.
Fun fact, I also did Accutane.
Nat did too, yes. Yours
Mine wasn't as bad.
No.
Mine was more like the ones that are kind of underground.
Mm-hmm. Where it's like texture?
No. Well, I got a lot of the texture and like blackheads, but then the ones that are like really deep, it might be cystic. I don't know. But the ones that are really deep and like you can't even see them. Like it's just almost like a red bump.
Yep.
But there's no like, you couldn't ever pop it because it feels like it's connected to your skull.
But they're still so painful.
So painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always had one of those until I did Accutane.
That was me too. That was the reason I did Accutane was because I always had at least one really severe cystic pimple. And I was like, I can't get rid of these.
Me too. That was like my breaking point was I always have one. It was always either like on my chin, like right here, or
jawline.
Like, jawline, or like on my cheek, or sometimes on my forehead. And then I'd get a lot on my back and stuff.
Ooh, yeah. We're going to do a full episode on Accutane at some point. Because I think we both have a lot to say regarding that. Yeah. But before we do that, I did want to set the foundation for what acne is. So today we're going to talk about what causes acne, what it even is, why it happens. So is it like mostly your lifestyle? Is it your genetics? Is it your diet? How much do those play a role? Yeah. And then obviously, of course, how to treat it.
Interesting. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Something that people don't always know is that Accutane, it works really well, but it's not always a one and done type situation. Yeah. And my acne is kind of coming back. I don't think it's that bad, but I get little spots on my cheeks and stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, Accutane's not always a end all be all.
Yeah.
But I think in both of our cases, it helped significantly.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'd like to know.
Yeah, that's not to say that there aren't other options as well. I don't want people to think that like Accutane is the only option for getting clear skin.
Accutane is extreme.
Yeah.
Like very extreme.
And I think if you see photos of my skin, you'll understand like why that ended up being what I did.
And if you see photos of my skin, you'll say, why did you do that?
That was weird. What a weird choice.
Why? And I'll say, I don't know. Because
I don't know, but it worked.
I don't know, because they let me.
Yeah, your derm was fine with it. I don't know.
It is interesting, actually, our experiences, like the difference between our experiences, because I feel like you had to do everything before they let you get on Accutane. And for me, it was like, have you been to a dermatologist before? No, I want Accutane.
Okay, let's put you on 80 milligrams.
Sounds good. Literally, like
awesome.
It was an at-home visit. Telehealth. Just kidding. I was
like, that's nuts. Anyway, yeah, like I said, full episode on Accutane coming because we obviously have a lot to say. But first, we need to talk about what acne even is.
Please.
Okay, so what is acne? We all have these tiny little glands.
I'm just so excited to hear about P acnes.
We're actually mostly talking about C acnes today. Sorry. I'm so sorry to disappoint.
I'll survive.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Tell me about C acnes then.
So we all have these tiny little glands near the surface of our skin. They're called sebaceous glands.
I love a sebaceous gland.
Oh, I love a sebaceous gland.
They keep me wet.
They keep you wet and moist. They secrete this chemical called sebum, and that's what keeps your skin and your hair lubricated. So if your hair ever gets greasy, that's because the sebum is doing its job, I guess. Yeah. The sebaceous glands are attached to your hair follicles. These are the tiny little holes all over your skin that your hair grows out of. Each hair follicle has like an individual hair. Sometimes if you're not, it has several.
Yeah. Which I guess is not that common, but
no.
That's why my hair's so thick, I guess, probably.
And you have so much armpit hair. No, just kidding.
I do, actually. It's crazy.
So when your glands produce too much of this sebum, it can mix with the dead skin cells and form plugs in your hair follicle. Mm-hmm. And then if a plugged follicle is close to the skin surface, it can bulge outward and create what's called a whitehead. Or sometimes the follicle can be open to the skin, so there's not like a layer of skin above it. And that creates a blackhead. So in addition, there's bacteria that lives on our skin. Just like generally, we all have little microbes growing on our skin. Sorry if that scares you.
Microbiome.
Our microbiome, exactly. Normally they're fine. They just live on your skin. But if you have plugged follicles, they can sometimes contaminate and infect these follicles. And that can lead to a bunch of different types of acne. So papules, pustules, nodules, and cysts. These types of acne are usually the deeper ones that are more painful, like the ones we talked about. So we had a lot of probably nodules and cysts.
Catch me with my nodules and cysts.
Cysty Sadie. So they call me in high school. That's crazy. Cysty Sadie and Nodule Nat. That's adorable. We should have been that for Halloween.
Should have. Too late.
Now you ask me what are the different types of acne.
Oh, so what are the different types of acne? Did you not just tell me? Did you not just tell me the different types of acne?
So great question. Okay, so there are all those different types of acne. I'm not going to go like in depth into what every single one of them looks like or is. We'll put a graphic up here. It shows the different types of acne, and it's also available in our blog post. I'll talk more about each type in the post. But like for the sake of time and also interest, I don't necessarily want to talk about every single one. Yeah. But basically, whiteheads are like the ones with white pus that you see. Those are the most typical ones that you think of when you think of acne. Blackheads are like the little black spots. And then cysts are ones that are deeper and more painful.
Yeah.
There are also different types of acne, like nuclear acne. If you look up a picture of nuclear acne, it is distressing. What? It's a very, very severe form of acne. All over the face, all over the back. It's nuclear. Or as Nat would say, nuclear. Just kidding.
As Sadie would say. Very clearly documented.
Let's roll the tapes. There's also fungal acne, which I don't know a lot about, but I think it has a lot more to do with like the microbiome.
Bacteria is normal to have on your skin.
You're supposed to have it.
Fungus is not. It's kind of harder and different to get rid of. It's just a whole different situation.
And like different to diagnose, but it looks really similar to other forms of acne. That's the thing with a lot of these types. The nuclear, fungal, there's also like steroid acne, which you can get if you inject steroids, folliculitis, and rosacea. A lot of those...
What? I had a friend who would not shut up about her folliculitis in high school.
Really?
I'm sure it was serious. I'm sure she hated it, but still. It's like, girl, you gotta stop. We're seniors in high school. Stop talking about your folliculitis.
Quit it. We've been hearing about this since we were freshmen. That's so funny. Yeah, these all look like standard acne, but they vary in what causes them and the treatment that you would use.
Question for you.
Yes.
People often think that you just only have acne as a teenager, which I'm sure that affects it, but I am now 30, and like I mentioned, still getting acne.
Yes.
Not what I was told. So how much do things like age or like hormones and genetics play a role in all of that?
There's like, so there's quite a big role that all three of those things play in acne. I was in the same boat as you. I was told once you're done with puberty, your acne will go away. Yeah. That's not the truth, Ellen. For some people it is, but like for me and Nat, it's not. So acne most commonly starts when you're in your teens because of an increase in the hormone testosterone or just like androgens in general. That's like a group of the male hormone. When we hit puberty, our body starts to create more of these androgens, specifically testosterone, and that can lead to more acne. The reason for this is because our sebaceous glands, like we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, they have androgen receptors. Those are like the lock that you need for the key that is testosterone.
Yes.
When those hormones bind to the receptors in your sebaceous glands, it tells the sebaceous cells to grow and multiply and then make more sebum. And so when these glands are more active, they're able to contribute to more acne because there's more sebum that can get plugged in your hair follicle. But just because it's the most common in teenagers doesn't mean that it only happens in teenagers. That's usually when it starts. But interestingly, teenage acne is most common in males, but adult acne primarily affects females.
Interesting.
So I think a big contributor to that is hormones.
Yeah.
Hormones can be such a massive contributor to acne. A lot of women find that their acne changes with certain phases of their menstrual cycle. And then also conditions like PCOS can contribute to more acne. Yeah. So I know for me personally, when I had really severe acne, I would always get it around my jawline and I would get it really badly like when I was about to start my menstrual cycle. And then sometimes it would be like way better during certain parts of my cycle and way worse. Obviously, hormones were a big contributor. Yeah. Also, if you're on hormonal birth control, that can change your acne. Sometimes it can make it worse and other times it can make it better.
Yeah, I know a lot of people whose skin like cleared up when they started doing birth control.
Yep. Whereas alternatively, I started doing birth control and my skin got way worse and I had to stop. It's different for every person. And so are hormones, which is what makes it so difficult. Exactly. There are also a lot of other factors like your diet, hyperhidrosis, stress, smoking, drugs, cosmetics, the seasons, and your hormones. And like hormonal disorders can also contribute to acne. And then another thing I want to highlight is genetics, because genetics can play a massive role in whether or not you have acne. I'm not going to go super deep into the whole reason why, but there is a known correlation between certain genes and the severity of acne.
Interesting.
In a study I read, there are 3 main types of genes that contribute. So there are inflammation control genes. This controls how strongly you inflame. Oil and hormone metabolism genes. So how much and what kind kind of sebum you make. I guess there are different types of sebum.
Yeah, I mean, that would make some sense.
Yeah. And then also tissue remodeling and scarring genes. So this determines how well you heal and if you scar or if your skin is relatively smooth. Yeah. So those 3 genes are like the biggest contributors to whether or not you will have acne. And certain genes also will express more depending on your race or ethnic group. So certain races are more prone to acne than others. So genes are a big contributing factor. My dad had really bad acne and my mom didn't have like any acne growing up. I have really bad acne. My sister has had like 2 pimples in her whole life. So
yeah, everyone in my family had pretty bad acne and several of us, I think, did Accutane.
Yeah.
I've noticed that everyone in my family also has kind of crazy scar healing and stuff like that. So
like they heal well?
Yeah. So like I don't really have very many scars. And even though like my brothers had more severe acne, none of them have any acne scarring. You'll notice that with some people, like their skin will be clear, but they'll still have the scarring.
Yeah, genetics are wild.
They are wild, yeah.
The paper I read was insane, which is why I'm not going to go fully into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then your lifestyle and diet also can play a role in acne. This is a very touchy topic because I have no background in dietary stuff. So like defer to an actual dietitian for this information. But from what I found from my research, when it comes to acne and diet, it's pretty clear that it probably has a correlation. What you're putting in your body probably has a lot to do with the way that it looks on the outside. Not probably. Obviously. Yeah. But the studies that we have on acne and diet are pretty unreliable because it's really, really difficult to do an accurate study on anything regarding your diet. Just because there are so many different factors when it comes to what people are eating. And it's really unrealistic to trap people in a room for 6 months and make them eat all the same thing in order to get an accurate reading, especially because like genetic predispositions have a lot to do with it. Your health has a lot to do with it. It's just really hard to do studies on diet. And it's even harder to do studies on women because of our menstrual cycles, because those can have such a big effect on acne. Yeah. And then birth control and general female hormones can also have an effect on acne, like we mentioned. So just when you're doing a study on women, it's nearly impossible to correct for all of these factors. Most of the studies that have been done on diet and acne have actually been done on like college-aged men. So it's not super representative of the general population.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. So based on the evidence, it seems like the 2 things that might cause acne, and the reason I say might is because the evidence is still weak, are high GI or GL diets, which are diets that have a lot of refined sugar and carbs, and diets with a lot of dairy, particularly low fat and skimmed milk. It doesn't seem like yogurt and cheese are linked to acne, but whey protein might be a problem. With both of these diets, the proposed way that they could be leading to acne is is through increasing the levels of insulin in the blood. And that can lead to increased androgen hormones. And like we mentioned, those increased androgens can lead to increased acne. Lab Muffin has a really good article about this. So definitely make sure you go read that if you're interested in this. I'll link it in the blog and the show notes as well. So basically, if you notice any foods that might be contributing to your breakout, personally, try not to eat them for a short period of time and just see what happens. But because diet and acne varies so much from person to person, you don't need to stress about what you might see online. Like there are a lot of people who talk about how certain foods contribute to acne. That's not reliable. Like don't listen to that. Just do what's best for you.
A lot of that could be their own anecdotal experience.
Yep. Or based on these really, really weak studies that were done on a very small select group of people. So you mentioned the microbiome earlier.
I did.
So our skin naturally has a bunch of bacteria on it, and that bacteria is called our microbiome. It's basically an ecosystem. And when that ecosystem becomes imbalanced, which is called dysbiosis, this can lead to inflammation, which leads to acne. Yeah. So C. acnes is a type of bacteria that lives on the human skin, especially in the oily areas like your face, your chest, or your back. And this bacteria doesn't This bacteria doesn't automatically cause acne, but it can act like a trigger for acne by turning on certain immune pathways. And so different strains of C. acnes behave differently in terms of how much inflammation they cause. And I'm sure the P. acnes are similar.
Well, we'll never know.
Sorry, I didn't research all the P. acnes. Next episode.
Next one.
And then a lack of bacteria can also lead to acne. So if certain bacterial strains dominate and other strains are lost, your microbiome becomes imbalanced, which can be linked to more severe acne. Yeah. So acne treatments can alter which microbes live in the skin and which amounts are living in the skin. And so a lot of topical treatments and sometimes even oral can have an effect on your skin's microbiome and whether or not it's leading to acne.
I try to avoid using hand sanitizer for that reason.
Interesting.
Because you're just killing everything on your skin kind of randomly. And I don't know, it's kind of the same idea as like, no, I'm not going to relate it to MRSA. But what you said, like, if you kill everything, then the competition is kind of equal.
Yeah.
But if you just clean your hands, then you get rid of some bad and some good, but there's still a lot of good left.
Right.
But using something like hand sanitizer, you just kind of kill everything. And then if you have a few bad on there, then they're multiplying at the same rate as the good are. And then it can just lead to an imbalance where you have more of the bad bacteria in your microbiome than you do the good. But I've also recently been washing my face with antibacterial soap. So how do you feel about that?
Interesting.
Just occasionally.
Have the results been good?
Yeah. I'm just trying some things out.
It's for science.
It literally is for science.
Yeah. The only time that I use hand sanitizer is after I touch a gas station pump.
Yeah, I'll do that sometimes.
Sorry,
too.
I want everything gone.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
That is fair.
I don't know. It just stresses me out. I'm like selectively germophobic.
We obviously did Accutane.
Yeah.
That's pretty severe. That's kind of the last step.
Yeah.
What other things are there that people can do before Accutane to treat acne? What you're saying makes a lot of sense. Like, there is a bunch of bacteria on your skin, and if the bad stuff gets clogged in your pores, then you get acne.
Yeah.
Seems straightforward.
Yeah.
So what can we do about it?
How do we fix it? So, okay, first we'll start off with the drugs that are used to treat acne. Then we'll go to OTC and then cosmetic ingredients.
Okay.
So these are the ones that need to be prescribed by a doctor or dermatologist. I'm not recommending any of these. This is just what I found online.
Yeah.
So the first class are retinoids. These are derived from vitamin A, and some examples are adapalene, tretinoin, and tazarotene. Adapalene you can actually get over the counter in certain situations, but you cannot get the other two over the counter. Also, for anyone who doesn't remember, we talked about this, I think in our first episode, but OTC, over the counter, those are things that you can buy at the drugstore, but the FDA regulates them. And then actual drugs are things that have to be prescribed.
It's like 800 milligrams of pain reliever versus 20.
Oh, yeah. Probably can't get 800 over the counter, I would guess. So these drugs work by increasing the rate at which your skin cells turn over, and then that helps to prevent clogged pores and also calming down some inflammation. So retinoids can be really irritating and drying when you first use them. So you have to build up tolerance typically. And you also need to use them consistently to see results. So sometimes there's even like a purge period where your skin gets worse before it gets better when you're using retinoids. And then also you have to use SPF when you are using retinoids. Please. I know so many people who use tretinoin but don't use any SPF. These make your skin more sensitive to the sun. So it's even more important for you to use SPF. But also, if you don't wear sunscreen, you're not going to get the benefits from the retinoids.
Yeah.
Because you're doing all this work to turn over your skin cells, but you're not protecting your skin from further damage.
And the sun makes your skin thicker. It promotes your skin to create more cells because it's causing damage. So your skin gets thicker because it's trying to protect you. So if you're trying to exfoliate and like calm your skin down, going in the sun and freaking it out and making it like produce all this new growth is not going to help.
Very counterintuitive. So please, please, please use SPF. Use SPF anyway, but especially when you're using retinoids. Another one is isotretinoin. So this is commonly known as Accutane. It's also derived from vitamin A. So it's basically like a much more intense version and also an oral version of retinoids. Yeah. It's actually not fully clear how Accutane works. We don't know why it works so well, but it's the only medication that addresses the 4 major causes of acne, which are too much oil production, inflammation, clogged pores, and bacterial overgrowth. And it's a very aggressive route to take, like we said, to clear your acne, but it's kind of known as the closest thing we have to a cure for acne. Sometimes acne will come back.
But you are forever changed by Accutane.
Truly. I think it's pretty rare for acne to come back as severely as it was before.
I used to get greasy hair. My hair would be greasy by the end of the day. And now most of the oil in my hair just comes from my hands or like the environment.
Yeah, like your hair lasts a lot longer between washes.
Yeah.
Mine does too. And dry shampoo works a lot better because I have to use a lot less of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're going to do a whole episode about that. Stay tuned. Another one is spironolactone. Have you heard of this?
A little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah. So this is one, I was actually prescribed this before going on Accutane and I ended up not taking it. I don't remember why at this point, but it's an oral drug. It's actually been used for decades to treat high blood pressure and heart failure. Mm-hmm. And it's also a diuretic. Basically, it lowers the amount of androgens in your hormones. Mm-hmm. And those are what lead to excess sebum production and acne. So it's just decreasing that.
That makes sense.
Like I said, it is a diuretic, so it can make you pee more often. And it's used to treat high blood pressure, so it can lead to lower blood pressure. But it is an option that some people like to use.
Interesting.
Finally, antibiotics. These can be used to clear acne because like a big contributor to acne is bacterial overgrowth or like an imbalance in your bacteria. Mm-hmm. They can be oral or topical and they usually work well, but they aren't a very good long-term solution for acne because of antibiotic resistance.
Yeah, that's something we can actually relate to, MRSA.
Yeah, antibiotic resistance is terrifying.
It is. With the hand sanitizer thing, the reason I don't like it is because you're kind of giving everything an equal playing field. Mm-hmm. With antibiotics, it's kind of similar. You're killing everything, but every once in a while, there will be a mutation that occurs in the bacteria that makes it resistant to that antibiotic that you're using. So basically, the bacteria will kind of adapt, and what we've been using to kill it no longer kills it. The reason that antibiotics can contribute to this is because if you kill off everything else, then you're just giving them more opportunity to reproduce because now they don't have as much competition.
Yeah.
So if you're not using an antibiotic resistant bacteria still exist, but they're competing with everything else.
Yeah.
So they're not spreading as rapidly because it's just kind of a fluke situation. Mm-hmm. But then if you happen to have that and treat it with an antibiotic, then that's where you can get an issue.
That makes sense. Yeah. And antibiotics definitely have their place.
Yeah, for sure.
They're very important, but I do think for acne specifically, they're not the best long-term solution.
No.
But if you have an infected wound, please take an antibiotic.
Yeah, they're good, but they can definitely be abused.
Yes, for sure. And also acne often comes back after you take an antibiotic because like you've mentioned with like the bad bacteria and all of that, like it's kind of a gamble whether or not it's actually going to work. So generally other routes are better, but that doesn't mean that antibiotics can't work.
Yeah.
Talk to your doctor. Like your dermatologist will know best. So take all of this advice with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Seems like with an antibiotic, though, usually what causes the need for an antibiotic is an introduced infection. And if you have acne that's a consistent issue, then it's probably not due to like this thing being introduced.
Like sometimes you could get like a staph infection or something and it can look like acne on your face.
Yeah.
That's something that an antibiotic would clear up.
Yeah. But if it's coming from inside the house, then that's not going to help because then your body's just going to go back to like dysregulating.
Yeah. If it's from genetics, then an antibiotic's probably not going to do much.
Yeah.
But that's between you and your dermatologist. So
don't ask me.
No, I'm not a derm. I'm just reporting the facts. So next are over-the-counter treatments. These are approved by the FDA, and all of these have specific concentrations they have to be used at, and also certain phrases that need to be added to the label. I'm not going to bore you with all of those details, but the FDA monograph I use is linked in the description. Also, I must mention, this is the clearest FDA monograph I've ever seen.
Really?
Very straightforward. You should go look at it after the episode because I was like, oh my gosh, I understand everything. It's not a troll riddle.
Yeah, some of them are bridge troll riddles. Yes. It's wild.
Yeah, Nat has way more experience with the monographs than I do, but this one I saw, I was like, oh, so simple, so straightforward.
Some of them are literally like, you can use this ingredient if you ask its parents first, and you have to have 3% of this ingredient, but only if that ingredient consents to the terms and conditions laid out by this other ingredient.
Who signed the contract. It's wild. Yeah. But this one's nice. The first ingredient is benzoyl peroxide. This kills C. acnes by reacting with the membranes in the bacteria, and it can penetrate really deeply into your pores and also loosen skin cells that are trapped deep in the outer layer of the skin. And it can also reduce inflammation, which is, like we've mentioned, a big contributor to breakouts. It can cause irritation, dryness, and bleaching. You have to be careful not to get it on your clothes because it can bleach your clothes.
It's not that surprising to me. It's peroxide.
Yeah, exactly. You can start off by using it as a rinse-off product, like a face wash, and then kind of move to leave-on treatments if your skin is able to tolerate it. It also does interact with tretinoin, like we mentioned above. So if you're using both of them in your routine, switch off. Use like the benzoyl peroxide in the morning, tretinoin at night, or on alternating days so they don't interact with each other. I'm not sure why it interacts specifically with tretinoin and not the other two retinoids that I mentioned, but it does. So just something to note. But it is quite an effective acne treatment. Also, sulfur is an approved acne treatment.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, but I didn't know that it was FDA approved.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, fascinating.
5%, I believe. You didn't write it down, but
we could look at the monograph.
We don't have to.
But it can help remove dead skin cells that clog the pores and lead to acne. And it also has oil absorbing properties, so it can reduce a lot of that excess sebum that you have. And it's antibacterial. It works similar. What?
It's just such an inviting ingredient.
It really is.
Sulfur. We all know.
And it smells so good. One thing we love about it. It works similarly to benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acid, which I'll mention in a second, but some sources say that it's more gentle on the skin than those two treatments. It is also commonly used in combination with resorcinol. Did you know that?
No.
Have you ever used that?
Resorcinol?
I had never even heard of it. It's FDA approved. It's rarely used on its own anymore. I'm not sure why, but it is sometimes used in combination with sulfur. I'm just always curious if your formulating has led you to these pathways. The last one that I want to highlight is salicylic acid. So this is an exfoliant and it works by penetrating your skin and then it dissolves all of the oil and dead skin cells that are clogging your pores. And it's part of a class of exfoliants called beta hydroxy acids or BHAs. We'll talk about that in a second. So now I want to talk about the other ingredients that aren't allowed to use the acne verbiage, but they're commonly used for acne-like concerns.
Yeah. For clear skin.
For clear skin. Basically, with the FDA, there are certain things that in order to use certain words or phrases, you have to be using them at those concentrations that the FDA has decided in their monograph. If you're not using those, then you can't use certain terminology.
Yeah.
So you can't say like used to treat acne. You'd have to use a different phrase.
Yeah. I don't even think you can use the word acne on your labeling.
No. I'm sure we'll do a whole episode about monographs at some point. But yeah, they're not recognized as actual acne treatments, but I don't want to say they can be used to like clear up acne.
Yeah.
But like
they have some amount of research behind them that shows that they can be beneficial for treating acne.
Yeah.
But not enough that the FDA recognizes them as a drug.
That's a great way to put it.
Great.
Perfect. So the first one are AHAs. These are alpha hydroxy acids. These work by exfoliating, and some examples include lactic acid and glycolic acid, but there are others. They usually work well for smoothing and softening your skin and also reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. And then BHAs are beta hydroxy acids. Salicylic acid is probably the most common BHA that's used. And these are usually used for more like rough and bumpy skin and psoriasis and acne. So BHAs are usually seen as less irritating than AHAs, but it really just depends on your skin type. Like I personally don't like salicylic acid for my skin. It's too strong, but I've had a lot of success with like lactic and mandelic. So it just kind of depends on your skin. Also, you could do facials and extractions. So a lot of dermatology offices and also estheticians will offer chemical peels and extractions to help with your acne. I did a lot of this before I went on Accutane. A lot of the peels they have super high concentrations of different acids like trichloroacetic acid, glycolic, salicylic, and lactic. But these concentrations can be effective for acne if they're used properly, but the FDA hasn't approved any of these chemical peel products. So it's super important that you only use these under the supervision of a dermatologist or like a trained practitioner. Like do not buy one of these peels and use it on yourself at home.
Yeah.
That is like a really, really bad idea. Please don't do that.
Yeah. Have you seen the woman on TikTok who was going to the same esthetician for a really long time and then did a chemical peel on her face?
No.
The lady like dripped it on her face.
Dripped it?
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No.
It's scary. She has permanent scarring on her face from it. She said she felt this like burning and could like smell it. And then at some point she like opened her phone camera and looked and her skin was white in these like drips on her face. And the lady was trying to stay calm, like, oh no, it's normal. It'll like be fine, you know. But she has like permanent scarring.
Oh, I hope she sued her. That's crazy. Yeah, you have to be so careful if you do get those treatments done. I got some done. I had some success with them, but you really, especially if you're going to an esthetician, you really need to do your research and make sure that that person knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
You just have to be so careful. That's really scary because it can cause permanent scarring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're using really strong acids and things on your face.
And that's like kind of the point, right? Like the point of those is to remove layers of your skin so that it kind of gets rid of a lot of those dead skin cells and stuff. So new skin forms and hopefully it doesn't have acne. Yeah. That's like sort of the point of it, right?
Right.
So,
but that's also dangerous.
It's really dangerous. Yeah. So you just have to be so careful. And then a lot of estheticians also offer extractions. They just like pop the active pimples in a way that's a little bit less invasive than you doing it yourself. Yeah. Also, if you pop your own pimples, you can introduce so much bacteria into them.
Yeah.
The idea with estheticians is that they do it in a way that doesn't introduce bacteria.
Also, when you pop the pimple, that pimple is full of bacteria and most people are not adequately removing it. And so it's just kind of like they're popping it, but then it's just moving to a different spot in their face.
Exactly. I think that extractions can be helpful, but I do also kind of feel like it's just playing whack-a-mole. I think that if you do get extractions done, use them in tandem with other things like effective skincare and stuff. And then some other common ingredients are niacinamide, zinc, tea tree oil, not necessarily my first choice, but some people have said it works for them. Polyhydroxy acids, clays, and probiotics.
Yeah. You said that's not really your choice, but I actually, after I get out of the shower, especially if I've just shaved, I put lotion in my hand and then I add a couple drops of tea tree oil to it and like mix it together in my hand and then I put it on. And I actually do think it helps a lot. At least for me. I don't know what it's called.
KP.
Keratosis
pilaris.
Yeah, I have pretty bad KP and so like my legs look strawberry-y. Yeah. Not so bad anymore though.
No.
Especially because my skin is dry. I took a shower today and I did not put on lotion after. But that's not bad. Looking at my leg, I would not really say like, oh yeah, that's a KP leg.
Mine probably,
I feel like mine used to be like so severe.
Yeah.
But I started doing that. Again, it's anecdotal. Yeah. It might not work for everybody, but my thought process behind it was like, I'm putting on lotion and if there is bacteria on my skin right now, there's a chance that putting on lotion could kind of seal it up into my skin a little bit. Probably not like super severely, but I was like, if I can add just a little bit of something to help. I don't know if it does anything, but it does have like a cool kind of like
tingly
effect. Yeah. And if nothing else, it's kind of nice and refreshing if you just have like a couple drops of tea tree oil in your lotion. Yeah. But with that being said, please don't ever apply direct tea tree oil to anything because that's dangerous.
Yeah.
So
just be careful and be smart.
If you are using it, do something like that where you're
diluting
it into a product first.
Yep.
And then using it.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Interesting, but I do like it.
Yeah. I don't really love essential oils because I just don't like the smell. So that's the biggest reason why I just cannot use them for myself. But
that makes sense. I actually am not an essential oil hater.
Yeah.
In general. I think they have their place. Not that this is an essential oil episode, but I think for me, because I'm very mentally involved, like a lot of anxiety, I think essential oils do actually help with mental things.
Yeah.
Like they say peppermint's good for nausea. I don't think it does anything biologically to help your nausea, but I do feel like it can calm the mental aspect of the nausea and calm your brain down, like the smell, which
and maybe if you're thinking, oh, this calms my nausea, there's a little bit of like
a
placebo going into it, which I think placebo can actually be extremely effective.
I agree. And so if for nothing else, I feel like they can be helpful for that reason, just to kind of get you in a headspace where you feel like something's happening. But I also don't hate the smell of most essential oils.
Yeah. I think I grew up with people around me who were very into essential oils and very into like that whole scene. And so I think that's why I kind of have an aversion to it because
that would make sense.
It was like, oh, if I have a cold, we're not going to take cough medicine. We're just going to apply essential oils.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so
I wasn't really introduced to the idea of essential oils until college. I started taking yoga classes, and then I started using like eucalyptus oil when I was studying and stuff. I think because it was at that point, like as an adult, that I decided to like implement them into my life, I have kind of a softer spot for them.
That totally makes sense. Yeah. I'm not against them at all, but like I smell an herb and it brings me back to that whole time in my life. And I'm like, I'm not interested.
No, that makes sense. It's not for everybody. That's for sure.
For sure. Okay, so there are a bunch of different things that people have found success with when it comes to clearing their acne. Ultimately, it just depends on the person and their skin type. If I were doing it again, I would probably focus on the FDA approved methods for controlling acne.
Yeah.
For example, I use tretinoin. I love it. It's an incredible addition to my skincare routine. But I also know that there are a lot of people who've found success in like regular cosmetic products as well. So ultimately, it's just up to you and your skin type. You just need to make sure that you patch test any treatment you're using and document your progress with pictures so you know if it's actually clearing up your skin. And then just be patient because it can take anywhere from like 3 to 6 weeks in order to actually see changes.
Yeah.
To finish up the episode, I want to talk about some lasting effects of acne.
Yes, please.
So after you get a pimple, it's pretty common to have either hyperpigmentation or post-inflammatory erythema. Those things have a whole different treatment plan. Not everybody gets this, but I get it really bad. The first one is post-inflammatory erythema or PIE. So this is a red, pink, or purple mark left on the skin after a pimple is gone, such as Nat and her fly bites.
Yeah, I got these fly bites a year and a half ago.
You still have those? That's so insane. But it happens because the small blood vessels under our skin, they're called capillaries, they become dilated and then inflamed and then damaged when you get a pimple. And so that's what leaves the residual redness behind. If you remember, Nat mentioned erythema, not edema, in SPF part 2. So we've been introduced to that topic before.
Yeah, we know all about erythema now.
Yeah, exactly. And then PIE is most common in people with lighter skin tones like Fitzpatrick 1, 2, and 3. We'll put a little graphic up here so you can see what the Fitzpatrick scale looks like. These spots can last for months, but they do usually eventually fade on their own. And then there are also some things you can do to fade them faster. A lot of those topicals that we mentioned can help. The other one is post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. These are true scars that can cause like an actual change in the texture of your skin. And it's different from PIE because PIE leaves residual redness. PIH is an actual change in your skin's pigment. So it has to do with like the melanin in your skin.
Interesting.
It's most common in darker skin tones that have more melanin. And then PIE and PIH both usually will resolve themselves over time, especially if you're using skincare and treatments. And it's pretty common for people to have a combination of both of those as well as actual scars in their skin. You can get actual scars from acne.
Yeah.
Usually it looks like pitting or divots in your skin, and it can be caused by damaged skin that hasn't healed correctly. When your skin gets infected, damage can occur, especially if you're squeezing your pimples or picking at them. Picking at your pimples can also cause more inflammation, which can make the scarring worse, which is why everyone says don't pick at your pimples.
Yeah. Well, you're not giving it a chance to heal flat.
Yeah, exactly.
You keep like disrupting it, and so it's gonna eventually heal disrupted.
Yep, in like a jagged way. Yeah. When the deep layer of your skin called the dermis gets damaged from this type of picking, it can't produce new collagen at the same rate that the collagen is breaking down. And so that leaves an area that has less collagen in it. That leaves the skin weaker and less elastic, and that can lead to a scar. That's why it's important not to pick your pimples. Sometimes scarring can still occur even if you don't touch your pimple at all. There are treatments you can do, like laser treatments for scarring. But in general, if you have acne, please just leave your face alone. Like just do your best. Get one of those little pimple popping toys instead of squeezing the pimples on your face.
Yeah.
And then also, acne has some pretty severe effects on your mental health as well.
Yeah, it does.
So I know from personal experience how debilitating acne can be to your mental health. It can really affect your confidence. It can make you feel like something's wrong with you. And it can even cause actual physical pain, like we mentioned before. Yeah. If you have really painful pimples or if you've picked at them, it just causes a lot of issues.
Yeah. The other day, I don't know what was going on in my head, but I had a big zit on my face, and I had to go to the grocery store, and I put a pimple patch on and then did a full face of makeup over it because I was so self-conscious for some reason. It just kind of like spiraled to where I was like, okay, well, I'll just do this. Okay, well, I'll just do like a little bit of foundation. Okay, well, I'll just do that. Like, just because I just felt so weird. And then by the end, I was like, I look like a clown. I'm about to go to the grocery store. I don't know. It is interesting to see just the psychological. People don't like to see their face looking in a way that they're not familiar with.
Yeah.
And so if you have changes to your face, like acne, it's just really like unsettling.
Yes. Especially if you don't know what's causing it.
Yeah.
That can be so frustrating. For me, I had no idea what was causing my acne. I had spent probably thousands of dollars on skincare treatments. I was trying new things all the time. I was going to an esthetician. I had a bunch of new products. I felt like I was doing everything right, but I still had acne. And that can make you feel like something's wrong with you. Like you aren't trying hard enough, or like, why isn't any of this working? Why do other people have clear skin and I don't?
And unfortunately, I think there is a big societal misconception that leads to feeling that way.
Yep.
Where people feel like other people that have acne have poor hygiene.
Yes.
And that's not the case. It can be.
Yeah.
Like poor hygiene can cause acne.
Yeah.
But more frequently than that, it's just hormones and genetics, things like that.
Yes.
Pretty much out of anyone's control.
Exactly.
Like I remember growing up, people with acne got made fun of all the time. Or it was like, oh, I don't want to sit close to them. Like, what if one of their zits pops? Or things like that people said where it's like, that is damaging.
Yes. Like I got called pizza face when I was in high school. And like, luckily, I don't know if I've mentioned this on an episode before or not, but I have this like kind of weird innate sense of self-confidence. I don't know where it came from. So it's never stressed me out that much. I think just because I knew I'm trying everything I can. So if people call me that, like whatever, but that's not the case for a lot of people. And especially after going through it for so many years, by my 20s, I was like, I'm done. Like I can't handle this anymore. Especially because acne can also lead to a lot of anxiety. So I was finding that I was canceling plans a lot. I didn't want to go out. I felt like I couldn't go anywhere without makeup. It can cause a lot of like those mental issues as well. As I got older, like I said, I kind of got out of that, even to the point where my entire course of Accutane, I rarely wore makeup. I came into work every single day with my very severe acne on full display. I would go to the grocery store and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
It was difficult because I would get looked at a lot, but I think it was also helpful because I was like, well, it's going to clear up eventually. So I was able to have that foresight, but it was still really difficult.
Yeah. If you are struggling with acne, just know that that's not your fault.
No, it's very normal to struggle with having that issue, I guess. But even though it can be really mentally difficult, there are some positive effects from having acne. People with skin conditions are often more like mentally resilient and empathetic. I think they know how other people feel, and they're often not as judgmental of other people because they know like what they're going through.
You know kind of how it feels to walk into a room and have everyone turn and look at you.
Yeah.
And even if it's not to the same extent as other people feel that type of observance, it still does give you kind of even just a window into that.
Yeah. When I see somebody who has really severe acne, I'm so empathetic and just like, oh my gosh, I know how difficult it is. Like, I know what you are going through, rather than judging them or being like, oh, why does their face look like that? Also, having acne does allow you to build more confidence that isn't centered around your looks. It can be more personality based rather than around your looks. That doesn't always happen, but sometimes having acne can force you to not be as concerned about your looks, especially with something you feel like you can't control.
Yeah. There has to be some amount of just acceptance for what is and knowing that there's something undesirable. It's not even that you can't change it necessarily. It's just that it doesn't change.
Yes.
I think that's what's so different and weird about acne is that it changes. So you'll see parts of your face be clear at different times. And then because it just cycles through, you're like, I know it's possible for my whole face to be clear. I've seen every part of it be clear before. But like, why is it not just happening all at once?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not saying you shouldn't seek treatment because it's an opportunity for you to build mental toughness or anything. But like, if you have acne and you're struggling with it while you are seeking treatment, I think there are some positives that you can look at and say like, well, you know what? Maybe this is a chance for me to build my own personal confidence rather than worrying about what I look like or things like that.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned treatment and stuff as well. The other thing that I have just noticed through my own experience, and I don't know if there is like an actual correlation between the two things, but I do think that people who have acne tend to build better skincare routine habits than people who don't.
Yep.
And so I feel like if you struggle with acne, you typically have a better skincare maintenance routine as you're older. And so then like you wear more sunscreen and you wash your face and you put on like I don't like going to sleep without washing my face. I do it occasionally because I'm very type B. But that is still something that I'm like, I like to wash my face and put on lotion just because it feels better. And but I think that it's because it's something I've been doing for so long.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My skincare routine is robust. Even though I did Accutane, and without a skincare routine, my skin would probably still look pretty good. I still exfoliate. I use a retinol. I use SPF. I do recovery nights with moisturization. Like, my skincare routine is intense because I built so many years of habits.
Yeah, there's a lot of trial and error to like figure out what works for you, and then a lot of habit. And once you find out what does work, I think you're just so determined to maintain that.
Yep.
But that does help just maintain healthy skin as well.
Exactly. You're building great habits.
Yeah.
So, basically, acne affects millions of people, not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. And there's so many different contributing factors. So it can be really difficult to narrow down what's causing your acne. But there are a lot of treatments out there. There are cosmetics you can use. You can use OTC. You can use drugs. You could use Accutane if you feel that's the correct choice between you and your derm.
Yeah.
So I think acne can be really difficult to go through, but as someone who has had very severe acne and made it out on the other side, I do believe there's an effective treatment for everybody. It just takes work to find it.
Yeah.
But just know that if you are going through acne, you are not alone. We've been through it. So many other people have been through it. So hopefully learning a little bit more about what causes it and what you can do to treat it is helpful for you.
Yeah, I hope so.
Me too. That's all I have.
Well, thank you so much. That was a really great intro to acne.
Thank you.
I am excited for all of the doors that this opens up.
Yeah, I'll be talking about it a lot because, like I said, I've made it a really big part of my personality. So I've got a lot to say. I'm also curious to know if any of you guys out there do have acne, if there's anything you've tried that works really well for you.
Yeah. Comment below. Let us know. You could also let us know on our social medias. Go over to our Instagram, comment there.
Yes.
You can find us anywhere at BeautyXBeaker.
Or our personal socials. I'm Sadie BXB.
And I'm Nat BXB.
So go find us over there.
Go find us. We're doing lots of fun stuff. You can also check out our website, beautyxbeaker.com, for today's episode notes and sources.
Yes.
As well as some merch and
some more info about us.
And fun times. And it's cute. It's a cute little site.
Thank you.
So
yeah, I've worked really hard on it, so please go check it out at least. So my work is not all for naught.
Navigate your way there. That's it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we love you.
We love you guys. Thanks for coming for another week. We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday, and happy November.
Bye.
Bye.
I love how both of us are like, we don't even know what we're talking about next week.
Join us next week. If you want to.
Where we know just as much as you do.
I'm sure we're talking about something. Oh, what could it be? Natural versus synthetic, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. Bye.